Shall we start? Hari Om. Let's start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. So we're looking at the 12th mantra where it says Atmanam Chet Vijaniyat Ayam Asmiti Purushaha Kimicham Kasya Kamaya Sariram Anusajjaret. So when he has no more shariram, no more body, which is there, means no more identification with the body. So what kind of desire he has, so who desire what? All that is question that we analyze. And Shankara raises a question here, Sariram Anusanjvaret. When the body is not there, or Sariram is that which undergoes deterioration. Even when the Sariram is undergoing degeneration, he is still happy. So question is, will he undergo suffering when the body is having problems? Body will have a problem, and to the degree that body is identification remains, he will feel the pain, he will feel the suffering also. And when he uplifts the mind to the higher thing, then he doesn't feel the pain. You also do the same thing. As long as I am waking state, I feel all the pains, right? When I take the mind, unfold the mind in the deep sleep state, then the problems of the body do not belong to me anymore. Problems of the mind also do not belong. All the worries and anxiety, everything is gone. Of course, I may not be able to sleep with all the worries, but if I go to sleep, then problems at the body level, problems of the mind level, problems of the intellect level, all are gone, because I am without any problem as I am. So in the case of a Jivan Mukta, also same situation, as long as he is occupying the body and conscious of the body pains he also feels that, because that's the nature. So leg pain will be there, and when you are sitting there it will pain, going up him, all those, sitting is a project and getting up is a project, all those things are there. Back will be paining. Swamiji is having back pain right now, terrible back pain. All those are the part of the body. At the same time, he has a visa. Visa is, he can uplift his mind to that I am the total Brahman also he has, and it's called Atmaradi. When he is reveling in that state, he is no more identifying with the body's problems as his problems, therefore he will not have effect of those. Even when he is having the body problems and he is of a consciousness, he also knows that this is Agama Paino Nityaha Tan Titichasva Bharata. The Titicha, forbearance, is a part of his growing up as a sadhaka, and that is always there. He bears those. I don't know how many people, last camp was in Washington by Gurudev, and his body was functioning only 20%, heart was functioning only 20%. I don't know how many people know. And the blood circulation from the leg on was coming down, so he had a problem with the legs and all that. And when he was sitting on the pedestal for lectures, it was a thundering speech. You can get all those speeches also available on the last camp at Washington. After that he went to San Diego, and in the process, I don't know, he left the body. And we should see, doctors were telling not to strain himself, because after the talk is over, he was almost like collapsing. The body could not take any more. And all our people massaging and all that, because it's all getting cold, blood circulation is problem. The doctors advised not to give talks. And one day they prevented even him to come, and Swami Tejamayanda took the class at that time. But next day he won't allow, he wants to come back, he did all that. But that's the time I gave already, when I went to him to give instructions of what to teach, he told him, I'm not the one who talks. I don't know, I told here or not, but anyway. He gave me last lesson also. When I sit in the pedestal, it's not me I'm talking, it is something else talking through this body. That was the lesson I had also. Last lesson. So essentially, when in the process, when the identification with that, the flow, everything else comes in from then on, it is no more, he is not really identifying, I am not even talking. But the body has to yield to that. But it will again come back once he's finished, the work is over. He was collapsing almost. And after that only, we advised him not to go to San Diego, because the San Diego was his camp there, and when we tried to do, he didn't want to listen. He says, people are committed, I am going. But their body could not take any more. So that's the story of Gurudev also. So as long as the body identification is there, pains will be there. At the same time, he will not suffer loss in the sense that they are not permanent. He sees only they are all part of Mithya only. Okay, let's be chanting 19 sloka. 419. Manasaivanu drashtavyam neha nanasti kinchana mrutyo samrutyo apnoti yahiha naneva pasyati. This sloka also is in the Kathopanishad. People who learn. And number one, manasa eva anudrashtavyam. First statement. This is important because a lot of people say you have to go beyond the mind. Here is the statement here. Manasa eva anudrashtavyam. One has to realize using the mind only. Period. There is no question of beyond the mind, destruction of the mind goes away. All those statements don't mean anything, because we are talking about scripture here. The mind has to realize. Why? Because the ignorance is in the mind. Who knows that I don't know? That is the mind only knows. Who takes the mind? I am this. It's only the mind. So the mind has a problem, and mind needs to solve that problem by what? By mind going to a proper education. So all that instruction says that vijnana artham sa gurum eva abhigacche sabitpanihi sotriyam brahmanishtam, says you have to go to an appropriate teacher and approach a teacher, is instruction to the mind only. And its mind has to realize what? Realize that the consciousness that I am is not due to my own nature, but the consciousness is all pervading. This is only reflected consciousness, and that statement, I am not the mind, I am not the body, has to be done by the mind only. Okay? Knowledge is in the mind, antahkaranam. Shankara gives an exhaustive analysis of this in the 13th chapter of Gita. And I wrote, I think, article on based on in my website is there. But in 13th chapter, in the analysis of Kshetragyam Chapimam Viddhi Sarvakshetreshu Bharata. So in that reference to that, who is having the ignorance is a question. It says an objection is raised. That's how the philosophy, the science is discussed. People are asked the question, I don't believe what you say because of this reason. It says, well, your reason is wrong. So this is what a Purva Paksha means, objector, objection, and then there is a Siddhanta where your objection is nullified by this reason. So it's logical. Counter arguments are all presented in that. So one objection is that Jiva is having ignorance, Ishvara doesn't have ignorance. How can you say that Jiva is same as Ishvara? This is an illogical question, illogical equation. That's a statement there. Kshetrajnam chapimam viddhi sarvakshe. Kshetrajna is Jiva and Mam is Ishvara, and you are equating there. How can that be? That equation is not really valid. It says, who said Jiva has ignorance? Shankara asks that question. So he says, that's what you have been, all Advaita is based on, because Jiva is the ignorance. He says, let me read Advaita again. Who has ignorance? Jiva doesn't have ignorance because Jiva is nothing but Brahman only. So Brahman cannot have ignorance. Then who has ignorance? Ignorance is only in the Antakarana. Antakarana is only in the instrument. Mind only has ignorance. And mind will solve the problem, that's the end. Equation is only at the Jiva level, that there is no problem there. Antakarana means mind has the notion that I am this. Why mind has a notion? Because it's activated by Chidabhasa. How did it get activated by Chidabhasa? You know now story. The pure consciousness is getting reflected in Chidabhasa, and Chidabhasa now become active, and that active Chidabhasa with the mind thinks that I am the conscious entity, but I am only this entity. Other conscious entity different from me, and other unconscious entities are completely different from me. All that. It's like a moon thinking that I am self-luminous entity in the sky. I don't know whether the moon thinks or not, but it's like a moon thinking that I am self-luminous entity in the sky. And in my presence everything else is, all other moons are different, all planets are different, all shining things in the sky are not different from me. All planets are also shining, and their luminosity is different from my luminosity. That's what moon thinks. So moon needs an education there. You are by nature, the luminosity is not due to your nature, it is due to from all pervading sunlight. The moon needs an education. Not the sunlight doesn't have any problem. So that is what essentially here. Manasa eva anudrashta. Manasa is the reflecting medium, has a notion, because now it has become a conscious entity, thinking that I am self-conscious entity. Right? So that self is not applicable to moon, but it's applicable to mind. Moon and mind are related, right? People become lunatic. Lunar is related to the moon. Moon is the presiding deity of the mind. That's what it is. But anyway, here it says manasaiva anudrashtavyam. So it has to be done by the mind alone. So not going beyond the mind. Mind has to know, and mind can only know by listening to the scriptures and educating. How do mind know chemistry? It doesn't know chemistry. What do I know? Go to chemistry class. You don't know. You don't learn by physics. By going to physics class, you don't learn chemistry. You have to go to chemistry teacher and learn chemistry. How do I know self-knowledge? Go to a teacher who teaches self-knowledge. Right? Other knowledge is not applicable here. It's the same way you have to approach a teacher who is Srotavyaha Manta, who himself knows about self-knowledge. Srotavya means who has learnt about Shrutis. That's what it means. Manasaivaanu drashtavyam. Neha nanasti kinchana. What does the mind is going to know? Drashtavya means to be seen, or to see, or to know. What? Neha nanasti kinchana. Neha nasta means na iha nana asti. Iha means here. Here, while looking at the pots and the pebbles and everything else, that's what iha means. And say there is nothing other than myself. Nana asti, there is no plurality ever. It's called, taking a pot, looking at the pot, using the pot, and say there is no pot here. It's a very ungrateful fellow. Right? Taking the pot and using it as needed, and then declaring there is no pot here. So what is there is only clay. Isn't it? clay in the form of a pot. I need a pot form to carry, otherwise I won't be able to carry, a clay will not be useful. So I need a pot form, but it's a clay only. So looking at the ring, they say there is no ring here, there is no bangle here, what is there is only gold. While using the ring as a ring and bangle is a bangle. Utility is not a criteria for reality. Okay, that's what, if you go to Mandukya Karika, Gaudapada talks about in the Vaitatya Prakarana, all these things anyway. All those tapes are audio tapes are available in the website, Chinmaya Mission website, all there. Okay, Neha Iha. So here is now and here, looking at the plurality, at the same time declaring that there is no plurality. How do I can declare, how can I say it's not there? Because what I am seeing is that singularity that pervades the whole plurality itself. That with that vision only I can say. Therefore, that vision has to be gained by manasa eva, by the mind only. How it can gain? By proper study of the reality of this. How to look that with this mind, his mind has to be trained to see, and that's what is called viveka. Viveka is nitya anitya vastu viveka. Discriminate what is real and what's not real, what is eternal and what is ephemeral. That sadhana mind has to be subtle enough to discriminate what is original light and what is the reflected light. The original light I cannot see, reflected only I can see, but using the reflected light I have to see the original light by manasa eva, by the mind only, because physically I cannot see. That has to be understood. And the next statement is mrutyoha sa mrutyuhu apnoti yahya naneva pasyati. And Dvaitins don't like this one here. So one goes mrutyoha sa mrutyuhu apnoti, one goes from death to death. So to go from death to death, one has to be born in between, right? So punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam is there. That means one continuously goes cycle of birth and death, and that is called mutyoha samutyo apnoti yahiha naneva pasyati. One who sees the plurality here and doesn't see the reality behind the plurality, he goes from one life after life after life. So the best thing is, if you don't want to go, see neha nanasti kinchana. Don't see any objects really there. That's what implies. Sloka 20. Ekathaiva anudashtavyam yetadapramayam dhruvam virajaha para akashat aja atma maham dhruvaha. This is another sloka quotation also. So ekatha eva anudrashtavyam. So ekatha anudrashtavyam. Anudrashtavyam is one has to, drishti is seeing, anudrashtam is seeing again, following again. Means you are seeing plurality at the outer level. Now see again, look again properly, with a proper vision, with the jnana chakshu you have to see, with the wisdom eye I had to see that there is no plurality really, even though I am seeing plurality at the objective level. That's what is essentially ekadha anudrashtavyam. Etad apramayam. Aprameyam. Apramayam is aprameyam. That etad, that what the reality is, aprameyam or apramayam. Pramayam is that which cannot be object of any knowledge. So one person was asking the student, I want to know Brahman. Why? I didn't go into details. Because I want to know Brahman. You cannot know Brahman. Why? Scripture says here, aprameyam, it cannot be an object of knowledge. So you can never know Brahman. So why are we attending all these camps if we want to know Brahman? Because it cannot be an object for me to know. I can know a chair, I can know table, I can know chemistry, I can know biology, I can know physics, all that I can know, but I cannot know Brahman because it's about me. I am that Brahman. Brahman is not an object for me to know as an objectification. I cannot objectify know. That's number one. Number two, Brahman itself is infinite. And infinite cannot be an object, only finite things can be known. And therefore, it has to be recognized. Therefore, it is dhruvam. Etat, aprameyam and dhruvam. Dhruvam means it is eternal. And also aprameyam is prameyam or is also called not only unknowable, also it is immeasurable. Also is called aprameyam. Pramana means Tukam is also called Pramana. Measuring unit is called Pramanam. And aprameyam is that which cannot be measurable. Immeasurable means it is infinite, therefore I cannot measure it. And that's for it is aprameyam. And dhruvam, dhruvam means here Shankara defines dhruvam as eternal. It is nityam, nityameva satyam. Anything that changes cannot be real. Real cannot be changed. So what is real, what is not real? This is big discussion in the philosophical traditions whether the Visishtadvaita and Dvaita and Advaita differs. From Advaita point, everything is unreal, neither real not unreal actually. It's called mithya, and what is real is only Brahman. So why do you say that? It is also real, you are seeing it, therefore it's real. It says no. What is real we define, that which is Trikala Abhayit, that which never changes any time, which is Dhruvam here, that means it is eternally the same. If it changes, then it's not really real. If a fellow keeps saying this, what he's saying, he keeps on changing. Today he says something, tomorrow he says nothing, he says he's lying, right? He's changing all the time. So that which changes cannot be real. What which is eternally the same thing he keeps changing, then you say that must be real. And what which is changes alone is real, and that which doesn't change is only eternal, is infinite alone cannot change. So therefore, that which is eternal is also that which is infinite. And that's what Gaudapada uses to define what is real and what's not real. Because real is what is experienced is not really real, because I experience things in the dream also. I am seeing in the dream also. Just because I see doesn't mean that it's real. Because when I wake up it's not there. So therefore, perceptibility, utility, all that utility, anything that you add cannot be real. What is only eternity alone is real. Virajaha, each word is indicative definitions of the Brahman here. Virajaha, so Virajaha means without any raja. Raja means the impurity, so it's pure. Para akashavatu, it is supreme. Akashavatu, akasha normally we say it is space, right? But here akasha, in the previous Muni Kanda 1 also we discussed this. Akasha is used in the sense of prakasha. So we have prakasha here in other. Prakash is there, Prakashji. Prakash means shining. Akasha means is that which ever shining, that is self-conscious, it is essentially conscious entity that illumines everything else. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati, we said. So that is called Akasha also. So that is, it means pure consciousness. Aja means unborn, that means there is no beginning for it, because it's eternal. Atma, Mahan Dhruva, that Atma, Mahan means, here is Desakala Vastu Aparichinnatvam is what is Brahman. There is no limitations, space-wise limitations, time-wise limitations and object-wise limitations, and that's what is called Mahan Dhruvam. And that is essentially the Dhruva is here, Kala Parichinnatvam is not there. Eternal, which means it is not, doesn't depend on time. With that, he gave definitions of Brahman in so many forms, indicatory definitions. Now is the answer to the questions a lot of people asking, what should I do? I am here, wherever you are. This is the next mantra 21, tells you instructions to gain this knowledge. Tameva dhiro vijnaya prajñam kurvita brahmanaha nanudhyayat bahun shabdan vaso viglapanam hitatu iti. Okay, iti is quotation of this. Tam eva means that, to know in order to know that. Dhiraha means all of us, means all of people who want to really know that. Vijnaya, to know that. Prajñam kurvita brahmanaha. You have to do prajñam. You have to do nididhyasanam. Those who have studied Vedanta, for them, they have to do constantly remembering this. I have understood, clear for me. Now I have to keep on this knowledge, otherwise once I go into the world, this knowledge I am not able to retain. So therefore nididhyasanam is constant reflecting of the teaching. How do I reflect on the teaching? Go and attend all classes. That reminds you. If you don't want to go attend, at least take classes. Start teaching classes. Not at least start writing anything. Every time the mind has to keep on dwelling on this and this and this. Okay, there is no other alternatives. Because even though I understood and only knowledge is required to eliminate the ignorance, in spite of that, even ignorance is gone, I have a crystal clear understanding. The ignorance, janita, karma are still there. Follow now the problem? Because when I was ignorant, I took myself, I am the body, and then I perform. Remember, I have accumulated vasanas. The lingering vasanas are there. I have enough, made it short, small enough for me to attend all the classes. So even to listen to Vedanta is a very great privilege also. Mumukshutvam, desire for it and opportunity to listen is not everybody's chance. Manushyanam sahasreshu, thousands of people are there. Only few people are interested. You can advise all over the place, but only few people are interested. Why? That longing to know and all other things are of less priority. That only few people who say this is more important in life than anything else. That only has to be understood. So therefore, this has to be constantly reflected. So there will be always a lingering vasanas there. Ragadveshas are not completely eliminated. So viveka, vairagya, shanadi, sat sampaddi and all that full qualifications are not completely acquired before I enter into Vedanta. Should I enter into Vedanta before acquiring all that? If you can sit through the Vedanta, then you are at least acquired enough to sit through Vedanta. The rest of the Vedanta, the rest of the things will slowly go away as you listen to more and more. Because you detach yourself, I am not even a doer, I am not doer, then vasanas don't belong to you anymore. The more you claim, the more it belongs. The more you don't claim, it will go away. It's the same problem. So essentially it says that the prajna means here, the Shankara defines as you have to do constant remembrance of the nididhyasanam. Kurvita, prajnam kurvita means the one who has to do constant, and brahmanaha, here the one who asks, I am a Brahmin, what should I do? Here is the answer. Before I answer the question, if you think you are a Brahmin, this is what your purpose, your thing has to be. What? Tameva dhiro vijnaya. First I have to learn the scriptures. Without knowing, how can I think about it? So I had to learn. For that, I had to go to a teacher who knows the scriptures, not just looking at YouTubes and all that. I had to approach a teacher who is essentially knows this. What kind of teacher? Who himself approach his teacher and learn all these things. So he is a sampradaya. He knows all the ins and outs and ups and all that. Any question he asks, he will answer because he himself has gone through this process. We asked Gurudev all sorts of questions. Patiently he answered. Arjuna, same problem Arjuna, 18th chapter he asked the same question he asked in the 3rd chapter. And Krishna doesn't say, you already asked this question. He says, hey, that's a very good question. He answers. Because he understands it. And that's what every Vedantic teacher has an infinite patience, because he himself was in that same position before. Okay? So people come and say, do you mind if I ask him? My God, that's my duty now. So that's called Acharya Runa. Acharya Runa is, I have an obligation to a teacher, not for the student, obligation to a teacher, because my teacher has helped me in the same way. So therefore his instruction essentially, you do the same thing to other people also. What you punish me, you get this punishment also. You have to teach others also same problem. That's called Acharya Runa, part of the growing up. Also one of the Pancha Yajnas also, that's the Rishi Yajna, it's called a Rishi Yajna. Rishi Yajna means obligation to our Rishis. Remember we gave you Gotra, I have an obligation to say this, I am coming from his Rishi. But I should know what he has done, otherwise I am unfit to claim myself. Now people say, no, I come from a big family. So what have you done to support that big family, great family? So I had to be deserving to say that I am coming from that. So next time when you go to temple, make sure you deserve to claim that Gotra that you have. So Prajnanam Kurvita Brahmana. Brahmana also means the one who is an inquirer into the reality. He is a real scientist. A scientist is the one who investigates what is true. So that is a Brahman. The one who wants to know Brahman is Brahmana. And in fact, in the previous chapter, Munkar, he defines Brahman as the one who knows Brahmana is Brahman also. But to know it, you have to first inquire. So it says, in fact, Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmano Nirvedamayan Naskruta Krutena. So once I examine my life, so this is where, what should I do, what should I do? First examine your life. What have you accomplished so far? You have been not only this life, you have been running around so many lives. What have you accomplished? You want to do same thing again and again and again in the next life also? So morning comes, morning comes, weekend comes, weekend is over, Memorial Day is also, Wakers, Friday, again, day running around, Monday through Friday, running around, blah, blah, blah. What have we accomplished in this? Yes, I have to take care of my family, I take care of all those things. But then what else? So committing myself, and here in the next line he says, Na anudhyayat bahun shabdan. Na anudhyayat bahun shabdan. Don't listen to many words. That's what the statement is. Na anudhyayat. Don't study many words. Bahun, many, shabdan, sounds. Means don't go after unnecessarily more than what is required in terms of learning other things. I want to learn this, I want to learn that, I want to learn that. Here is a statement. It's not my statement, it's a statement by the scripture. It says, Nanudhyayat bahun shabdan. Because you are wasting your time in all that learning all other things which are not really real knowledge. You want to become, great in that science, in this subject, in that subject, they are all right as long as it's meant for some purpose. But don't waste more than required for that, because your attention is also required here more. This is much more important, and that's what is essentially the statement for a sadhaka who is interested to know Brahman. And also it says, Vacho viglapanam hitat. Don't waste your speech also. Vacho viglapanam hitat. So don't keep talking all the time. About what? About other than the Brahman. Other subjects, don't keep talking. So anytime you want, don't keep talking means don't listen also. Not only you talking, other people talking. Don't waste your time in front of TV, because other people, they are all talking nonsense only. Don't waste your time other than what is required. That means every time that you have, because you say, I don't have time, you will find a time if you really think that this is important. Because your priorities will change. You try to conserve your time, you minimize your wasting of the times, and utilize it as to the study of the Vedanta. And that is what the instructions for a seeker. This statement is for instructions for a seeker. What's tea time? 3, 3:15, okay. We'll do Sloka 22. This is a very big mantra, and we'll do bit by bit. Sava yeshaha mahanaja atma yoyam vijnanamayah praneshu yaha yoshontar hrudaya yeshontar hrudaya akasha tasmin chete sarvasya vashi sarvesyeshanaha sarvasyadhipatihi sana sadhana karmana bhayan no eva sadhana yesha or eva? Here it's eva. No eva asadhana no, okay, let's do with the sandhi. No eva sadhana kaniyan yesha sarveswaraha yesha bhutadipatihi yesha bhutapalaha yesha setur vidharanaha yesham loka nama sambhedaya. Okay, we'll stop that there, up to that point. So here, the stages are being defined. First, the highest state, and then the rest of the mantras talks about the sadhana also. So what is that highest state? Again, he is talking about Sava Eshaha Mahanaja Atma Yoyam Vijnanamayaha Praneshu Yaha Yushontara Hrudayaha Akasha Tasmin Chete. So this is actually Mahavakya statement. He goes from a Jiva to Ishvara, okay, in the statement. So starting from a Jiva, he says that Atma, the self that I am, or the self in everyone, that which yo aha am vijnanamaya, that because of which I am identifying myself with the intellect. Mayam is, I said, tanmayam. That means identification with the intellect. I am the intellect. Yaha I am vijnanamaya praneshu. Yaha yeshontar Hrudaya akashe tasmin chete. So that which is all discussed before, where I have that which is in the innermost heart of everybody. Antar Hrudaya means in the heart of everyone, in the akasha, in the space, as though it is there. So we define what is Hrudayam. Hrudayam is the essence of individual. And Akasha is only that which is shining here, that illumining factor, that which is inside, that is innermost shining principle, that which you learn as a Swayam Jyoti Brahmana, that which illumines everything. And Esha Antaraha Hridaya Akasha Chet Tasmin. That same one, that pure existent consciousness that living in each individual as the essence, as I am existent consciousness, I am Sat Chit Swarupam, and that same thing is Sarvasya Vashi. Now he goes, immediately jumps into the same one is nothing but Ishvara. Okay, so here Jiveshwara Aikya Sambandha is in which Jiva and Ishvara is not different from the point of consciousness. If Ishvara is there, he has to be conscious entity. We don't talk about unconscious Ishvara, right? Hopefully, Ishvara is conscious entity. He has to be existent entity. And besides existent consciousness, what else you can say Ishvara? And those are defined here. This is Sarvasya Vashi. He is the controller of everything. So everything is controlled by him. And Sarvasya Ishana, Sarvasya Ishanaha. He is the Lord of everything. He is the Isha means Lord. So he is the Lord of everything, is a controller also. Sarvasya Adhipatihi. Here Adhipati is Swatantra. Sarvasya means Swaswatantra. He is independent by anybody. Nobody else can control him. Nobody else can be over above him. And he is the Lord of everything. Nobody can have a lordship over him. He is the ultimate Lord. The Sarvasya Adhipatihi. Sana Sadhana Karmana Bhayan. Nova Asadhana Kaniyan, and he can Sadhana Karman Bhuyan. I'm sorry, not Bhayan, Bhuyan. I said wrong, I might have said it's a Bhuyan. Bhuyan means it's a growing, becoming more. So na Sadhana Karmana Bhuyan, na Bhuyan. He is not going to become any more bigger by any actions. That's what the statement is. No eva sadhana kaniyan. He is not going to become smaller by any sadhana. And that is Eshaha Sarveshwaraha. So he already said Eshwara, he is the Sarveshwara. He is the Lord of everything. Esha Bhutadipatihi. He is the Lord of all Bhutas, Panchabhutas. And Esha Bhuta Palaha. And he is the protector of all Bhutas. Yeshas Setur Vidharanaha. Setu normally means bridge. But here Setur Vidharanaha. He is the one who doesn't have any banks, limitations of anything. Yesham Lokanama Sambhedaya. So that because Lokanam Sambhedaya. So all Loka, all fields of experiences are being illumined by that alone. And that is the nature of that. Tam etam, in the next line comes about in terms of sadhana. So what is the nature of the self that I am is the self of the Ishvara is the same. So when the Lord comes into pictures, sir, who are you? If you ask Vishnu, he will say, I am Lakshmipati. But if you ask Ishvara, I am not talking about Shiva. Ishvara means I am talking about the whole Lord of the whole entire universe. So Shiva says, I am a Parvatipati. Maybe I don't know if he says that or not. Only Vaishnavites, they say they are Lakshmipati and so on and so forth. Because Lakshmi is important for them. But the Shiva says, I am half of Parvati. I am Ardhangi. Ardhangi means half of me is Parvati itself. There is nothing to claim I have something. So that's Shiva. Anyway. So here, if you ask the Lord, who am I? The Bible says, I am that I am. Right? Statement is it. That's the only thing, because anything I say I am is qualified. All I can say, I am, period. I can keep on saying, I am, I am, I am. Because anything you add after that gets qualification, and anything qualified is an object, and therefore it becomes a finite. That which is unqualified is only infinite, and that I am. And that's essentially what is that I am. You know, even Jesus also, I am the way, right? I am the way is a statement, and he says only Jesus is the way. They interpret it as Jesus is the way, but quote unquote, I am the only way. Because I am is the pure existent consciousness, and that is the essence of the whole thing. That's what this statement here is. That which is the I am, which is what is the Ramana Maharshi sloka? I forgot anyway. If it remembers, I'll tell. Anyway, here, what is being equated, Ishvara, you have to be very clear in terms of what Advaita says. Advaita doesn't say, I am same equal to Ishvara. Even though its statement here says, I am same equal to Ishvara, it's like a ring saying that I am same as gold. Because I am born of gold, sustained by gold, I go back into gold. Therefore, I am same as gold. But yet, ring is different from gold. Why? Because you don't go into dictionary and say ring is equal to gold. There is no synonyms there. They are not equal words. Right? If a ring is different from a bangle, bangle is different from a necklace. They are not equal. But equation is only in the essence of it. And that's what is being pointed out. That which is antar hudayaha, that is innermost essence of, now I remember. Ahamina ashabad jahamahantaya spurati hrutsvayam paramapurnasat. This is from the Upadeshasara of Brahmana Maharshi. Ahamina ashabad. When this I am, all that we are doing all the time, I am this, I am that. When that local I am is I am and Nasha, that is dissolved in clear understanding, then what happens? What happens then? What happens? And that's a question. What happens when I realize? Nothing happens. If something happens again, it is again act in a time and space wise. What happens is knowledge spontaneously raises in your mind. Ahamina shabad jahamahantaya. Aham taya. I am. Taya means repeating the same thing. I am. Spurati hutsvayam. It spontaneously, spurati, raises in your heart. In your heart means we know that, Hrudayam, that's what he says. In your heart of your core of your personality raises, I am, but nothing is added after that. No qualifications. I am, Spurati. This is by Ramana Maharshi. Statement. So, when this small I am that identify myself with the body, mind, intellect, when this ahami nasha baji, when it is gone, spurati hrutsvayam, that spontaneously raises aham taya spurati hrutsvayam, and that I am is paramam purnam satsvarupam. It is supreme, there is no further I am. Number one. And I am paramam purnam, it is full, there is nothing more you can add to it anymore. You cannot further qualify anymore other than I am. Means I am existent consciousness. Paramam purnam and satsvarupam. And later he says, Satta eva chit chittayahyam. That Sat Swarupam is Chit Swarupam also, because this is a existent that I am, because existence is specified because all objects in the whole world is also existence only, because Chit is not seen properly. Therefore existence is emphasized there, and therefore it is Purnam also emphasized. Here it is that which is the Antar Yesha, Antar Hrudaya, Akasha, Tasmin Cheti, that which is shining in the very core of the heart is same as that which is essentially Sarvasya Ishaha, is the controller of everything. How does it control? So in me, what is controlling factor? Who controls everything in me? Who controls? Oh, I control. Who is that I? It is the life principle in me. Fundamentally, it is the life. Without life, nothing. Life is gone. Mar gaya, right? We call it mar gaya. In all Indian languages, even English also, dead and gone. He is dead and gone somewhere, obviously. So, what is that life? We don't know. We are operating, we are living, at the same time we don't know what that life is. Everything that I do, I think I have a control because I am alive. Without the life, I cannot do anything. So, who is the controller? It's the very life itself. Including, I am able to think because I am alive. I am able to negate the presence of God because I am alive. Right? Even to say there is no God, I have to be alive first. Without knowing who I am able to say. It's like a fellow, scripture says it, it's like a fellow shouting at the top of his noise, I have no tongue to speak. So I have no tongue to speak. If he's shouting so much, he cannot even shout without the tongue there. So his whole statement disproves the statement that he's making. Right? So there is no God here. That very statement disproves his statement. Because he is able to make that statement because of that only. So chair doesn't say there is no God here. But only a human being can say. That's what that scientists, they only nature created, but God did not create. And I don't know, we don't know how God is. So when Einstein said, God doesn't play dice, I don't know if you heard that statement. Einstein made a statement, God doesn't play dice. And Chandrasekhar asked, how does he know God doesn't play dice? I mean, both questions are funny. But anyway, God doesn't play means it's not a random thing. It's just anything that it comes. It's not randomly is creating anything. So everything is predetermined properly. But so Einstein believed in some karma philosophy, obviously. Anyway, so here the equation that I am Ishvara and all that is understanding level only. Even though the body level, it's still body. So when even after realization, when I see the Lord in front of me, I prostrate. There is an Ishvara there, there's a God is there, temple is there, all rituals are there, everything, the Mahatmas they do, they follow. Am Brahmasmi doesn't stay there. Understanding is different, operation is different. When they do the Ashtotra Nama only, there is only glorifying that only, that which is also I am. Sarvajnaha, Sarve, these are the glorification here. That's what is being done in the mantras here. He says, Sarvasya Vashi, he is a controller. Sarvasya Ishanaha, Sarvasya Ishanaha, that is the Lord of everything. And Sarvasya Adipati, here it is Sarva Swatantraha, there is nothing to control him. And Sanasadhana, it cannot grow more, it cannot become less because it's already infinite. Infinite cannot become any more infinite. Right? Only finite can grow, infinite cannot grow. So to say that it's essentially any action means the result of any action or the phalam, or you cannot add anything more to it, you cannot subtract anything from it, because infinity is infinity. No further questions can be turned, no words also can reach there actually. Yatho vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. The words cannot reach there, and that has to be understood. So Yesha, all that is the statements belong to Ishvara, and the first statement belongs to the Jiva, and here the statement that Jiva is not different from in the essence wise, and that's what essentially the Chandogya Upanishad that starts with and says Aitad Atma Vidagam Sarvam Tat Satyam Sa Atma Sa Vigneya, and also says that you are. Says Tattvamasi Svetaketo. Says this Aitad Atma Vidagam Sarvam, that's part of this sloka. He says Aitad Atma Vidagam Sarvam Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tattvamasi Svetaketo. Says you are that Svetaketu, you are that. Who am I that? And he gave all that before. Says Aitad Atma Idagam Sarvam, Idam Sarvam, Idam, in everything that you see, Idam, the essence of it. Atma is here, essence of everything. Essence of everything is pure existence, because that's how it started, the whole Upanishad. Existence alone was there before, and existence itself became many, and therefore all these things is nothing but existent. Only Nama and Rupa is different, name and form are different, and thus only for transactional purposes, in essence it is nothing but pure existence alone. And that has to be understood as what we are creating is the essence wise. So, Aitatma idam sarvam tat satyam, that is satyam, that is what we started whole Upanishad, sadeva soumya idamagramasid and all that. Existence alone was there before, and existence became many, all that. Therefore, knowing existence, I will know everything. Eka vijnanena sarva vijnanam bhavati. Knowing one thing, you know everything. Knowing the essence, I know everything. That is the teaching of the Chandogya Upanishad, and here is a statement of the same in a different form, that is the same thing together. Okay, let's go to the next line. Tametam vedanu vachanena brahmana vividishanti yajnena danena tapasa anasakena. Okay, we'll stop there. So here up to this he says, now we go to the sadhana. From where I am, what should I do? People are asking the same question here, all answering is given here, statements here. He says, what should I do? This is what you have to do. Tam etam vedanu vachanena brahmanaha vividashanti. So those, here the first part belongs to, according to Shankara, the first part belongs to brahmacharya ashrama. When you are a student, this is what you have to do. What I have to do? It says, tam etam, that what we have been talking about, that truth, Veda anuvachanena. Here Shankara defines the anuvachana means adhyayanena. So Veda adhyayanena brahmanaha, brahmacharis, the one who are seekers of Brahman, that's called brahmachari. Not necessarily the celibates here, that also, but here it's those who want to know what should I do, first learn the scriptures. That's what he's saying you. Learn scriptures here, it is essentially the scriptures and also the meaning of it, with the meaning if you can learn. So go to a teacher, obviously, that's what implies. So tad vidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. Krishna says, for to know that, you go to a teacher and with pranipatena, with humility you go. Because only the humble can learn. Oh, teacher, teach me, let me see how you can teach. Then you won't learn. So there is a very funny story in the, what is that, not Buddhism, I don't remember that. But anyway, this student once heard some Vedanta. He says, you have to approach a proper teacher. Yes, agree. Who is a proper teacher? So he has put a lot of qualifications for the teacher. He has to be this teacher has to be this, he has to so he has a big list of qualifications that he wants a teacher of that type for him to learn. So he went around with that list to find out where is the teacher who fits all these qualifications. And look around, this teacher is okay, but he doesn't have a complete list. He's not putting all this. So teacher is not. So he went another teacher. Like that he went to teacher to find out whether they fulfill all the requirements. Nobody's footing is all the qualifications, or nobody's meeting is all the qualifications that he has. At last, after searching all over, he found one. He went to him, sir, I have this list. I've been looking for a teacher who can qualify. Nobody is fitting. And at last I found you are alone fit. Please teach me. Approach. So teacher was very happy. You want to learn? Very good. Come with me. So he took the student. So I have an initiation process for the student. So okay. So you know what? It's very simple. There's a bucket there. There's a well there. You take the water, and there's a tank there. You have to fill up the tank using that bucket, and there's a thread there you have to do. Oh, that's all? Yes. Then he looked at the bucket. There's no bottom for the bucket. No bottom for the bucket. Say, how am I going to use that bucket to fill up the water from the well to this one? He looked at the teacher. And he looked at the bucket again. He looked at, sir, there is no bottom for this bucket. The teacher said, don't I know that? You are not ready to follow the instructions. Therefore, you have found a qualified teacher, but you have to first discover yourself as a qualified student first. Then only the teaching can start. So, one has to be qualified for the student also. So that's with tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena. Krishna says, you go to a teacher with humility and ask appropriate questions. In olden days, teachers won't allow you to ask. You say, you go with enthusiasm, please tell me this, and you will ask all questions. He says, beta, calm down, go, take bath, first, do some work, and when you are ready, I will allow you to ask questions. He won't allow him for 1 year. He will be standing there because the teacher is slowly observing what kind of student he is. I don't know how many know Swami Chinmayananda's. So he wanted to learn Vedanta. He went to Swami Shivanandaji. He went and Swami Shivananda gave him the sannyasa, and he wanted to learn more. Shivananda is more karma yogi also. He was a doctor before. And he wanted to know more. Questions are being asked. He says, you go to Tapovan Maharaj. He is much more knowledgeable on this and he will teach you better than I am. So Shivananda directed Chinmayanandaji to go to Tapovanji. And Tapovanji was living almost like 15-20 miles away from this place. At that time there is no bicycles or anything, you have to walk there only, there is no other. So he walked all the way 15-20 miles. Tapovanji was not taking any students. Anybody sannyasa comes, he will say reject him immediately. He's very, very particular in terms of whom he takes. But he was still waiting for somebody, and that's what Chinmayananda is. So he goes there, says, "Sir, I am coming from Swami Sivanandaji, and I want to learn Vedanta, and he has sent me here to learn from you. Please teach me." So, where is the letter? So, what letter? Letter that Swami Sivananda has recommended you to come here. Where is the letter? He didn't have a letter. He didn't know that he has to bring a letter. Okay, go and bring the letter. I can't teach unless I walk back all the way, 15 miles, got a letter, and then walked back again with the letter. "Sir, I have a letter." "Okay, outside, keep it. Come on, sit down and learn." He never looked at the letter. But what is he testing is how much devotion this student has to learn, how much committed he is. And Swami Tapovan is also Malayali. I don't know if you know. Chinmayananda is also Malayali. And he said, "I'm going to teach in Hindi. I'm going to teach only once. I won't repeat again. And you have to learn immediately." Those are instructions. So you want complete attention of what he is doing. And that is the nature of the requirement of a disciple also. Okay, signal has come. I think we can go for a tea, and we will have the last session of that, and that comes after this sloka. We will also cover a little bit of the Maitri also if possible. We will do Purnamada Purnamano. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.